Hey, what's going on everyone at GuitarFella.com? Jared Couture here, and today I'd like to give you some information about acoustic guitars, and hopefully this can help you pick and buy your first acoustic guitar for yourself. Alright? So anyway, first off, I'd like to go ahead and just tell you about the guitar, the anatomy of the guitar. So what are the different parts called and things like that. So let's go ahead and start up here. Up here at the top, this is called the headstock, right? These guys are the posts, which we put the strings through and wrap around. These are the tuning machines. This white thing up here is called the nut, which kind of helps hold the strings in place. This whole thing here is the neck, right? On the front side, it's called the fretboard or the fingerboard. And the metal bars on the fretboard are called frets, right? All the metal bars. Anyway, moving down here, we have the body of the guitar. This whole thing is the body. So this is the top, this is the side, and we got the back, right? The hole is called the sound hole. This whole piece here is called the bridge. These pins here are the bridge pins. And this white spot here is the saddle, also helping keep the strings in place, straight, with the nut. And of course, we have our strings, right? So that's the basic anatomy of the guitar, the basic parts and the names of them. Okay, so now I'd like to tell you about different body types of the guitar, different makes and sizes that they make, right? So this can really help in your decision, maybe if you're a bigger person or a smaller person or a child, this can really matter. So first I'll tell you about the classic body type. So the classic or concert, right? So this one is a smaller body type, and it's really good for just smaller people or for children. And it has a real bright sound to it, right? Because it's a smaller type. So this one might be the one for you. So next I'll tell you about the dreadnought. And the dreadnought is a typically full body, like a large full body acoustic guitar. So if you can see, this one is a cutaway, right? Has this cutaway here so I can get to the higher notes easier. Now the dreadnought though does not have a cutaway. It basically just goes around just like this one, and it's a little more boxy. It's a real big top. It has a big sound that comes with it as well. Pretty popular amongst like bluegrass guitarists, country players, stuff like that, because of that big sound. Okay, so next, the jumbo guitar. I'm sure you can guess what this one is, right? It's jumbo sized. It's a very large guitar, and this one is like your typical cowboy guitar you've seen cowboys using. So if you love, cowboys and cowboy music or whatever, maybe that's the one for you. But either way, it's a large guitar with a very, very big sound as well, a very boomy sound. So that's a really nice one. Alright, the last one I'll tell you about now is the travel guitar. So a travel guitar is basically just a 3/4 size guitar. It's just a smaller guitar, and we use it for traveling, right? I have one that I use called the Little Martin, and it is very nice for traveling, hiking, take it on airplanes. It's a little backpack. It's very nice for that, and it's also really nice for children. If you have a very small child, like 5 to 8 years old, something like that, you want to get a childhood guitar, that's a perfect one for them. 3/4 size. They actually make half-size guitars as well, which are even smaller, but 3/4 size is just fine. So anyway, you have your choices, your options. Okay, so now I'd like to tell you about different types of wood that guitar makers make the guitars with. Because there are many different types of wood, and they each have very special qualities and special sounds and tones that they give off, the tone woods. So I'll tell you just about a few, give you an idea of some of them and what they're used for. And if you like the sound of any of those, just remember those, and maybe you can apply that when you get your guitar. Alright, so first I'll tell you about spruce. So this wood is really common for using on the tops of guitars. So this part here. And actually this guitar happens to be a solid spruce top as well. So it's a very, very popular wood for the top. It's very light and strong, and so guitar builders like to use it. and it's got a nice sound. Okay, so next we have cedar as a common wood, and this one is pretty standard for classical guitar tops, classical and flamenco style guitar tops, and it's also used for the sides and backs of acoustic guitars as well. We have mahogany as a popular wood used. It's a very dense wood, and a lot of people that play like blues and country music like the sound, the tone that comes from that wood. So maybe if you play those styles, this is your wood. Okay, we have rosewood. This is one of the most popular woods to use for building guitars. It's also very interesting because they were using this wood from Brazil, the Brazilian rosewood, and such a depletion of the wood that it's not used really on guitars anymore, and they're using Indian rosewood, but it's basically very, very similar tone. It's basically the same thing. And anyway, this wood is pretty much like a perfect wood for all sounds. Everyone really loves this wood a lot. Okay, so next I'll tell you about maple. And maple wood is kind of like a dry sound. It's used for the back and sides a lot as well, this one for maple. And you may have also seen this on the fretboards of electric guitars. This is pretty common. Okay, so the last one I'll tell you about is the ebony wood. And the ebony is a very dark wood, very slick, and is very commonly used for the fretboards of acoustic guitars. Alright, so anyway, this is just an introduction to some of the popular kinds of woods used when building guitars. And you know, there are many woods that are used to create different sounds, and they're all mixed up around around the guitar, with the sides, the back, the top, fretboard, and so on. So anyway, if you're interested, go ahead and research more on it. If you have a specific sound in mind, that may be really helpful for you to know types of woods that are being used. Okay, so now continuing with the woods, I'd like to tell you about the tops of the acoustic guitars. So there's basically two different ways that the tops are built. You have a solid wood and you have a laminate. So solid wood is basically made out of two solid pieces of wood, the same wood, and then they're joined in the center. This one is a solid, like I said, it's a solid spruce. And you also have laminate. And a laminate is multiple types of wood pressed together, and typically they use a nice wood on the very top to help with the tone, to help with the sound of everything. So the laminate one, it doesn't give you the actual volume, the full volume or tone as a solid wood will give you. So you're kind of losing a little bit on that end, but one thing that's good about the laminate is it's much less expensive. So if you're getting your first guitar and you don't really care, it's okay with you, you want to save a little money, it's okay, get a laminate wood. Either way, it's going to sound nice. Alright, so these are the things that I wanted to let you know about, and just some final recommendations. For me, when it comes to buying a guitar, it's very important to me that it feels nice on the way I like to play. So if you already know a few chords, what I recommend doing is try as many guitars as you can. Go to a guitar store, play 20 guitars maybe, if you can. I mean, there's certain things you will be drawn to. The look of the guitar, which is actually the reason I bought this guitar. A lot of it was because I loved the way it looked. I loved the neck, this multi-colored neck on this guitar. So that has something to do with it, obviously. You know, you want the look. The size, right? If you're a bigger or smaller person, you know, this will matter. And the way it sounds and the way it feels. So try as many guitars as you can. See what you like the best. And maybe you'll start recognizing like, hey, I really like this solid spruce or whatever. You can see it in the guitar. Normally it will say the type of wood. Maybe after you play a few, you'll recognize that I really like this sound. Or the size, or whatever. So anyway, that's what I recommend. Just try as many as you can. Make sure it feels really nice to you. And if it feels great, sounds great to you, then it's your guitar. That's a simple way of thinking. But please do take into consideration all the other things that I talked about in this video. So anyway, I hope that you learned something about the guitar from watching this. and you have a better idea of what you're after now. And yeah, I guess next step for you is just to go ahead and get yourself a guitar. So, thanks so much for watching. Again, I'm Jared Couture. Thanks for stopping by GuitarFella.com, and we'll see you next time. Alright? Bye-bye.